you may not get the best out of it. So if you will need some seconds to quickly grab your journal, I need everyone who wants to actually experience the time we'll spend together to have a writing material. It's either you have your journal with you and a pen, a pencil, whatever, you have a book, because I don't just want to speak to you. I want to lead you through a transformational audit, because the quality of your future is shaped by your willingness to examine your present. If you're like me and you are African, whether you live in Africa or in the diaspora, you will know that 2026 has challenged us in different ways, whether it's the kidnapping of the children who were still praying to be released to their families. It could be career uncertainty, it could be emotional fatigue, it could be migration issues, it could be inflation, it could be anything. And many of us in this room have either survived difficult seasons, we could have learned new skills, started new businesses, gave birth to children, maintained relationships, or even if at the very basic, continue to show up. And I know from my work that when it comes to reviewing maybe the first half of the year or doing an audit, it usually comes with some sort of anxiety. Sometimes it's to people, it comes across as, oh, trying to blame them or pointing out all the areas they didn't do well. I want you to relax. Today is not about judging yourself, but it is about seeing yourself clearly, because you cannot improve what you refuse to examine. And I'm here to bring you awareness and to guide you through that. So to make our time very transformational with the short time that I have, I will employ that when I ask questions, please respond immediately. Don't wait for the first person to respond, because I need to know that this is meaningful for you. So quickly, I need someone to go to the chat room and describe the first half of your 2026 with one word. If there was an adjective, one word to describe January 1st, 2026 to now, what would it be? Give me that word. Whether you survived it, whether it stretched you, whether it challenged you, whether it transformed you. Busola said chaotic, fantastic, eventful, great. It means that there are some things that you brought to your mind that made you describe them the way you describe them. So today, I will be leading us to, first of all, three things is what I have to do with us today. I'll lead us to reflect, I'll lead us to recalibrate, and I'll lead us to rise. And I want us all to be part of it, all right? So the first thing, reflect. Irrespective of the word you have used to describe your 2026 so far, what has life been teaching you this year? You know, I always say to people, life will continue to teach you a lesson until you learn it. And so if we are going to audit the first half of 2026, we're going to start with what life has been teaching us this year. And I'm going to be taking us through this reflection from a prism, from a model that looks at the different areas of flourishing. That is why I said you should get a writing material. So right about now, I need you to go to that journal of yours, put a circle in the middle, and write in that middle your name, Chidima Flourishing. That should be what should be in the middle. And then let it have 6 spokes. So maybe that's what they call it, spokes of a wheel. So in the 6 spokes, don't bother to write all of what I have here. Just in the 6 spokes, label them PERMAV, because this is the 6th lens through which we'll be auditing 2026. Because when it comes to what life has been teaching you, how you have been running your life, and if you once you finish drawing your own caricature or your wheel, I need you to come to the chat room and say done. I told you I'm not here to talk. I don't like to talk because many times people hear things, they never take action. If only what you do with your time with me today is to allow me to guide you through these 3 steps, then your time would have been worth it. All right? So, because we're not trying to look at 2026 so far from the lens of the absence of challenges. We're not looking at it from the lens of perfection. We're not looking at it from that lens of everything perfectly fitted. No, it could also have been growth. It could also have been progress. For some people, it could also have even been merely surviving, and that is okay based on where you currently are, right? So let's look at how you have done in these different areas. And when it comes to what makes life fulfilling, what makes life enjoyable, before we came on, Ronaldo was speaking and he was saying that I enjoy my life. I like the life that I'm living. So I'm going to lead you through a reflection right now to say that when we look at positive emotions, that's that sense of experiencing joy and emotional well-being. We're looking at engagement. It is about being absorbed and energized because you are engaging in meaningful activities. What about relationships? What about meaning? In the first half of the year, what things brought you that sense of meaning? What about achievement and vitality? So I'm going to be taking them one after the other. What I need you to do is, whilst we're looking at it, you are going to grade yourself on a scale of 0 to 5. If for each of these 6 lanes we are looking through, you feel that in the first half of the year, it was completely disconnected, you did not feel any sense of satisfaction or progress in that area, it is a 0. If you felt completely connected, completely satisfied with how your life fared in that place, in that particular lens, it is a 5. So you have between the range of 0 to 5, but I'm going to guide you in that reflection. So let's start with positive emotions. When we talk about positive emotions, what are we talking about? Because as Africans, we have become experts at survival. We have become experts at endurance. Positive emotions does not necessarily mean that you have to be happy at all times. It is how you invite the long range of positive emotions, joy, gratitude, hope, peace. So within the last 6 months, what emotions dominated your life? Be jotting down because you're doing a practical exercise. What emotions dominated your life? What did you engage in from January to June that actually brought you genuine joy? That's what you should be thinking about. And how often did you celebrate gratitude? Were you just in the first 6 months complaining about goals you didn't meet, complaining about how the nation is dying, complaining about how your partner, your daughter, your son, your work? What did you do to experience gratitude? What worries occupied your mental space in the first 6 months of the year? And if you can recall moments where you literally actually smiled between January and June, that is so spot on. So with these reflections in mind, can you please give yourself a score in positive emotions? Because many people have become so focused on surviving life's demands that they have actually forgotten how to experience life's delights. The question is not whether difficult emotions came for you this year. Life will always throw challenges. The question is, how did you invite positive emotions in your life by yourself? And maybe one significant question I'm going to ask you when it comes to positive emotions in the last 6 months would be, when was the last time you felt genuinely alive? You felt genuinely joyful. And what does that moment teach you about what your soul needs more of? Think about it. How did you invite joy? What emotional habits do you need to leave behind? We are auditing the first half of the year. So I'm moving to engagement. You're done with assessing your positive emotions. So you come and say PE done or PE thumbs up, whatever it is. I need to know that I am with people and I'm not just talking to myself. Are you done with positive emotions? Give me an PE done, then we can move on. The next one is engagement. You know, I look at people sometimes and it appears that people are merely existing instead of truly living. And that is just a miserable place to be. A lot of people are busy, but only few people are truly engaged. Let me tell you something. Busyness is activity. You may have done a lot of activities from January to June, but did those activities make you feel alive? Did those activities, you were immersed in it and time was disappearing, your energy was at point, you used your strengths meaningfully, like you were truly present? And that's why I'm asking you, under engagement in the past 6 months, what activities did you do in the first half of the year that truly energized you? Or were you just engaging in activities that were constantly depleting you? Do you think that in the last 6 months, you were living intentionally or reactively? Were you just there responding to trends? Were you just there responding to circumstances? Or were you intentionally experiencing flow because you were doing the things that align with your strengths? You were doing the things that enabled you to use your gifts and your talents, and you could literally feel yourself being consumed, being absorbed in it, that you were even deafened to the challenges that were all about you because you were actually in your place of flow. Rate yourself in the past 6 months on the engagement lens between the ranges of 0 to 5. And that's the major question I'm asking you here is this: what part of yourself have you neglected this year? Did you neglect from January to June that is longing to be expressed, longing to be developed, longing to be brought back to life? Because you were not actually living your real life. You were just being busy, because many people spend their days doing things that they must do, but very few spend enough time doing the things that bring them to life. And I must tell you, one of the greatest tragedies of your first half of the year is not that you failed. It is that you may have lived disconnected from your strengths and gifts. And that is a miserable place to be. So please, audit yourself and come to the chat room and tell me, Dawn, if you have ranked yourself, you have reflected, and you have given yourself the score between a scale of 0 to 5, I need to see you have done that in the chat room. The third lens we will quickly look through is relationships. And thank you for as many people that are engaging, many people that are allowing themselves to immerse themselves in this process. The third one is relationships. I don't want to overflog relationships, but we know from research that the most singular contributor to a person's sense of aliveness, to a person's sense of fulfillment, in fact, to a person's sense of happiness, is relationships. But then sometimes when we look at relationships, we think that the benefit from relationship is what the other person is bringing to the table for us. But let me ask you something. If the people in your life that you interacted with from January to June were to describe their experience of having you in their life, what do you think they would say? Are you aware that you can literally script their adjectives that people will use in describing relating to you. And then you show up in that way that even if you try to do a social experiment, depending on the social sphere and what you want them to experience, and you ask, they will all be saying that script. Because when you script the experience you want to be, that is the action that you take to be. So let's look at relationships. Within the last 6 months, did you feel like you were a loner? Who are those that were your greatest support? How many relationships did you invest in growing? And if there were any relationships that needed repair when you were entering from December 2026, 2025, and you knew that that relationship, something was wrong with it, it needed repair, did you work on repairing it? Did you think that the way you could live in the last half of the year, but was by carrying that superwoman, superman persona, that even when you knew you needed help, you would rather struggle than ask for help because you wanted to keep up the appearance of somebody who had it all figured out? Relationships are most times the mirrors through which we see ourselves most clearly. And at the end of life, people rarely wish that they attended one more meeting. When you look at people at their deathbeds, nobody really talks, I wish I made $10 million. I wish I smashed that goal. What you often hear is, I wish I spent more time with my loved ones doing the things that I love. So tell me, in your busyness of the first half of the year, how intentional are you on spending time with the people you love deeply and really investing time with the people that mattered? Come to the chat room and tell me you're done with that. Are done, so that I know that we are making progress. So we move on to meaning. Meaning is what sustains us where comfort disappears. So the big question is, what does your life matter? If somebody was following you secretly or even publicly, and they observed how you spent your time, your energy, your money, your attention in the first half of 2026, what would the person conclude is most important to you? You know, talk is cheap. Anybody can say, oh, my faith matters to me, my family matters to me, service matters to me, community matters to me, legacy matters to me. All talk is cheap unless we can see a consistent pattern in the direction of your talk. So if there was one person that was watching and following you through the activities you devoted your time to in the first half of the year, they would conclude what is important to you, but will their conclusions be what you have been verbally saying? Or will it be out of tandem with that? So what did you do in the first half of the year to outlive yourself? What values guided the decisions you were making? Do you even feel like your days were meaningful, that you were living in alignment with your purpose? Because I always tell people, meaning is what keeps you when motivation fades. People are sometimes, my mentees will say, oh, I'm getting discouraged, I'm not getting enough likes, I'm not getting enough shares. And I just say, go back to your why. Because when you know your why, you can bear anyhow. So you may achieve many things, but your heart feels empty. Because achievement without meaning rarely satisfies the soul. So my question again is, if somebody followed you in the first half of the year with the way you spent your time, your energy, your money, your attention, what will they conclude is more important to you? And based on that, rate where you feel, how much you feel you fared in the meaning lens in the first 6 months. So if you are done with meaning, come to the chat room and tell me I'm done, because we're moving to the next one quickly. All right, the next one is achievement. We are designed as human beings to want to make progress. But sometimes, even in our quest to make progress, we forget that the momentum for more progress is celebration. So somebody wants to make $10 million and they make 1 million. They are still beating themselves up because they do not realize that celebrating the 1 million can give a momentum to accelerate what you're doing. So talk to me. What did you do in the first half year that you are most proud of? I'm not here to tell you did nothing, but is there something you achieved that you think you are proud of? One goal, one tiny progress. Did you feel that obstacles slowed you down? Maybe there was something you were working towards, but obstacles slowed you down. Or you realize that, oh, I have a skill gap here. Did you go to look for how to get that skill? Is there one win that you may have achieved, that you have minimized, that you have overlooked? So what I want you to, in reflecting on this, is that as you're moving to the next half of the year, you must build a culture that celebrates efforts. I know a lot of motivational speakers will tell you efforts don't count. It is the result that people see. I am here to tell you that every effort counts. And the more you celebrate every effort, the more you are motivated to keep moving. So what have you done in the first half of the year that the version of you that started January would be proud of? And based on that, let me know A, done, because I need to quickly wrap up V so that we can move on. I see a lot of people, Africans, who are so consumed with achievement, wanting to do this, wanting to be productive, wanting to be responsible, wanting to be successful, that in all of this, they end up being exhausted. Are you aware that the future you desire requires a healthier version of you? So talk to me. How did you prioritize your physical health from January to June? Or you were just working from one project to another, from one achievement to another. What did you do to prioritize your mental health? How did you sleep? How did you rest? What did you eat? What about your emotional health? Did you just neglect it? Or did you have a ritual in place that helped you to optimize your mental well-being? Your spiritual health. What did you do?
For the property, sorry. I'll deal with that.
I don't know who is speaking. Okay. Please, if you're not speaking, but for now, I'm the only one speaking, so you shouldn't be unmuted, please. Thank you. Or were you consumed with habits that were stealing your energy? Let me tell you, the body is always speaking. It's just that we don't listen. So what has your body been trying to tell you between January and June? When you lie down to sleep, are you actually resting or you are literally collapsing? Because some people sleep tired and they wake up the next morning even more tired than they went to bed. So if your body, your mind, your spirit could speak honestly to you right now, what would they be asking of you? So if you're done with vitality, please come and tell me V done, because I need to rush right now. I need to ensure that we are all on the same page. And so if you're done with V, I'm seeing V done, fantastic. Let's move on. So I don't know what your scores are. You are the one that did it. You are the one that sees where you are at. But what I know is that there are some important truths about yourself that came to you consciously. No matter where you are at, so long as you are here in this room, so long as there is still breath upon you, I need you to shift your focus. Because most times when reviews and reflections like this happen, many people go and stay fixated on the things they didn't do well. Oh my goodness. Oh, no. Right about now, I need you to count your blessings. So no matter what your ratings were, go still to that your workbook, to that your journal, and write at least one thing you're grateful for that happened from January to June, because that is going to help us get into the next R. So maybe you have many things you're grateful for, but for this moment, I want you to write just one so that your mind can literally do that shift from fixation to negativity to appreciating the good, so that you are broadened to be in your most creative state. So, despite everything, I am most grateful for you're coming to the chat room and you're writing G. I'm going to take that G as you have written one thing you are grateful for. So you write G, done. And I know that we are done so that we can move on. Fantastic. We've looked at the first R. I'm moving quickly because this time is short. I was telling Ayo, I need 90 minutes to deliver this, but I can see that the time they gave me, but I'll try my best to maximize it and ensure that you get value for your time here. So we have reflected. It's now time to recalibrate. So if you look at that wheel I told you to draw, where you were at the center and then you did the 6 spokes representing all of these different lengths that I took you through in the reflection, what patterns did you notice? Where do you think you need the most attention between now and December? And when I'm talking about where you need the most attention, it could be where you scored the lowest. It could also be where you think you have most neglected yourself. So maybe, for example, you could have scored 2 as your lowest in relationships, for example. But then you know that even the vitality where you scored a 3.5 is that area you have neglected yourself so much. So maybe that's where your mind is at. So it doesn't necessarily mean that when you are recalibrating, you're starting from the lowest. It depends on you, either your lowest score or the most neglected place. Because we're going to sit down now and you will begin to reflect. What does that area need? Think about it. What does that area need? If nothing changes, if that area remains the way it is in your life, what will you be reviewing? What will you be auditing when we come to December? What will your life become if you continue in that area the same way you are in your scorecard today? And whilst you're thinking about that, maybe you are thinking relationships. Now I feel disconnected, but if I can improve my relationship, I'll be happier. I'll have more people in my life that I vibe with. Or you are thinking meaning. If I can just reconnect back to my sense of meaning, I think I will feel more alive. Whatever it is, what will change? What will improve? But I need you to also think in this direction. What will happen if nothing changes, and what will improve if you do something? Because right about now, I want you to go to that journal and write what you need to do in those areas. And these are just my guidance. You know what it is you're needing. Maybe if you chose that the place you want to quickly recalibrate is your positive emotions, what is your soul needing more of? Is it needing more enthusiasm? Is it needing more zest? Is it needing more joy? Is it needing more anticipation? Is it needing more gratitude? Is it needing more peace? I don't know what it is. What do you think your soul needs more of to take your positive emotions from where it's ending June to something you will be proud to review in December? When you think of engagement, what part of you is longing to come back to life again? It could be a passion, it could be a strength, it could be a gift, it could be a dream that is asking you, literally begging you, can you fan me again? Can you invest more time and energy to bring me to life again? Because that's what I need to feel more connected to my essence. What if it is relationship? Maybe this is the time you're going to define, what do you want the people in your life to experience where they experience you? Whether it be intimate relationship, whether it be friendships, whether it be work relationships, whether it be your support system, whether it be your community. When Chidinma Nwobi appears, what does Nedum experience? What does my clients experience? What do my children experience? What vibe do they have of me amongst my friends? When I show up in church, what does my church community think about me? In my neighborhood, if you were to ask 5 people to describe the experience with me, are we going to get similar adjectives? That means that I have recalibrated and I am intentional about how I want to be in the life of people. Then we move to meaning. When you think about meaning, maybe that's the place you think that you got the lowest score, or the part of you that you have neglected for too long. Maybe you need to ask yourself, what changes do I need to make to live more consistently in alignment with what matters to me? Is it that time? Will the second half of the year be where you disconnect yourself with the fear of missing out? Because a lot of people live in misalignment to their meaning because they want to flow with the Joneses. They want to do what is trending. They want to be called where they are calling certain names. But you know that your spirit and your soul is disconnected from such. Why are you there? So what do you need to do to live in alignment with yourself so that you can feel that you are satisfying your faith? You are satisfying your sense of contribution. That's what you should be reflecting and writing if meaning was that area you want to recalibrate. What of achievement? I want you to look at achievement in this way. Imagine that we're having this conversation again by December 31st. What will be that one thing that is yet not accomplished for you, that is yet not completed, that you have not made significant progress in, that if you could, by December 31st, have accomplished it, have completed it, have progressed in it, you will feel deeply proud of yourself. That's that one thing I want you to write. If achievement is that area of your flourishing that needs attention. And then vitality. What is that daily habit, that act of self-care that you must improve? That will improve your energy, improve your well-being, improve your capacity. And please, don't tell me that you don't have time. Because you are going to devote time. In fact, I was listening to a guru one time, and he said he was referencing meditation specifically, but it applies to every sense of self-care. That when you think you do not have time to meditate, that is actually when you need to meditate. So if you think that you're so busy, there's so much to do, you can't make out 20 minutes in a day to exercise, you can't make out 30 minutes in a day to meditate, you can't make out 10 minutes in a day to reflect and have your quiet time, it just shows that you are so disconnected from your essence that that is actually what you need. So what daily acts of self-care, what daily habit must you do? Because if we audit January to June and we do not recalibrate for after June, then we might as well not attempted the first exercise, because the goal is not to stop there. The goal is so that we can recalibrate. In another form, maybe you want to think about it this way. And you're asking yourself, by December 31st, 2026, I want to feel, write whatever positive emotions you want to feel. I want to be fully alive in, what's that activity? Whether it's even, it may be work, related, it may be family related, it may be a hobby, it may be a new skill, but you just want to be able to do something where you feel fully alive. What will it be? I want to experience. What do you want to experience in your relationships? When it comes to meaning, I want my life to stand for this. I want my life to be known for this. I want to contribute this, because I always remind people legacy is lived while you are alive. Because sometimes when people talk legacy, they are talking after you have gone. What are we going to remember after you are gone when we don't know what you represent now? It is what you represent now that you will be remembered for. So whatever legacy you want to be known for, you need to start living it now. So what do you want your life to stand for? What do you want to achieve, even if it's one small progress? And what do you want to nourish? Is it your body that you have left? In fact, some of us, sometimes when I'm working with my clients, I make them to apologize to their being. Apologize to your body for depriving it of good food, for starving it from sleep. And even though you've been starving it from sleep, it still wakes up the next day to attend to you. Even though you've been eating junk, it's still waking up. You need to apologize, cry for your body and say, I'm sorry for all the junk I fed you, for all the times I was dehydrated that I should have just drank water, for the different times that I consumed so much sugar and alcohol that it looked like I did not value your essence, your mind. For all the times I let the things that should not filter into my mind. Apologize. For all the times that I engaged in conversations I should not be part of, because I could not draw the willpower to disengage from that, because my ability to set boundaries, even when it comes to mental consumption, is so low. Or are you going to apologize to your spirit man for the number of times you were whispering things to me, but I neglected it? For the times that I did not act like the God that I am, because you are a God. For the times I forgot who I was, so that in this new half of the year, you are going to nourish the spirit man in you, attend to your body that is housing you, and keep your mind stayed on what is important, what is meaningful, and what is essential. And lastly, we are going to rise. I told us we will be doing 3 things: reflect, recalibrate, and rise. And no matter what it was that you saw when you reflected on those 6 lenses, and then I don't know where your heart was at when you tried to recalibrate, and the things you were asking of yourself that you wanted to do differently. But it's important that you know that for you to do differently from how you fared in January to June, you cannot remain the same person that showed up January to June. Otherwise, your result will exactly be the same thing. Because whilst your reflections have revealed where you need attention, the awareness has shown you what really matters to you. Now, the question is, what are you willing to commit to between now and December to become the person who can do what you calibrated? Success doesn't happen by accident. We heard Ronaldo say that. So it doesn't matter whether it's success in sports, success in marriage, success in career, success in parenting, success in a flourishing life. It does not happen by accident. Success grows where you intentionally direct attention, energy, and action. AEA. Where you direct attention, success happens there. I have helped you shift your attention to where you need to be focusing on. Where you direct energy and action is where you will be successful. So who do you think you need to become to create this future that you see? And I want you to think about it this way. In relation to that area, I always like people to start with minimalist goals. I know maybe you want to improve all of the 6 lenses. It's okay, but please, for the focus of this, start with 1 so that you can activate your ability to focus, laser focus, achieve something, and it will have a ripple effect. So the question is, the future version of me, you are writing, that's why it's in the tense. You go to that, your journal, and you write, the future version of me is waiting on the other side of what? Is it consistency that the future you needs? Because you know these things, you do them, but you've not been consistent. Is the future version of you that will do a different scorecard by December waiting on the other side of audacity? Is it waiting on the other side of forgiveness? Is it waiting on the other side of discipline? Is it waiting on the other side of rest? Is it waiting on the other side of faith? I don't know for you. But whatever you've written, I need you to further break it down into these 3 things. Because of what the future version of me is waiting on the other side of, I will start. What will you start doing? I will continue. Maybe there are things you're already doing that is giving you the sense of flourishing that needs to continue. Fantastic. I will stop. What will you stop doing? Because honestly, today is not just about us gathering to give a verdict whether your life was good in the first half or not. It is actually a checkpoint. I say to people, whatever your result is exactly where you need to be, because your result is a reflection of where you directed attention, energy, and action. So if you need to change any result you had from January to June, you need to redirect energy, attention, energy, and action. So there's still enough time to make 2026 a meaningful year. Because flourishing is not about perfection. It is about choosing again and again to become the fullest expression of who you were created to be. So I don't know what January gave you. I don't know how you navigated February. I don't know if March tested you, or maybe April stretched you. And maybe you have things you're celebrating in May. But this June, House of Saviors has invited you to pause. And in that pause, they're asking you, what's that version of you that has taken the lessons from January to June, that has recalibrated and is ready to rise? Because the success you want, the flourishing you want, is not an isolated event. It is the daily decision to learn from your past, align with what matters, and become the person that your future is waiting for. I may not promise that the second half of 2026 will be less busier than the first. It might actually be busier. We might actually face more challenges individually and collectively. But what I know is that my prayer for myself and for you is that may the remaining parts of 2026 be wiser. May you be healthier. May you live a more meaningful life. And may you actually, at December 31st, when you sit back to review the remainder of the year, you will look back to today that a certain woman, Chidima Nwobi, aka the Queen of Happiness, took you through a process to reflect, to recalibrate and to rise above your audit of January to June 2026. And as a result of that, you made progress in your life when it came to the things that brought you joy, when it came to the things that made you feel alive, when it came to the relationships that mattered to you, when it came to your sense of meaning, when it came to making advancement, and definitely when it came to living a more vital life. So that our time here spent auditing the first half may it truly impact how we do life more meaningfully in the second half. If you believe this as a prayer, you're going to type "so shall it be," or you could type "amen." But you know that your amen is at the mercy of where you channel attention, energy, and action. Thank you, and back to you, Lena.
6, because I know by 5:30 you have to.
Lena, are you back?
Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for this session. I've never written so many notes, and I know the time was short, but you really delivered. There's a lot that we can take from here. And I want to find out, can people ask a few questions? Are you ready to take a few questions in case people have some questions?
Yes, I'm here. My Saturday afternoon today is dedicated to House of Saviors. So if you have time for questions, I have time to answer.
Okay, all right, thank you so much. So, House, you've heard, if you have any questions, please put it in the comment section, or you can raise your hand and we'll unmute you and have you ask your question. From what I have learned so far is my key takeaways, using my own words, is what has brought me here cannot take me there. Like whatever I have done is good, but where I need to go or where I want to go cannot take me there. There's a lot of recalibration that has to happen in order for me to experience a new and bright future, I would say. And also, the other thing is that legacy is not, I would say, you do not accomplish legacy when you die, but you live legacy, like it's your daily life. Every day you live, you're leaving an impression. That is your legacy. Because I've heard so many people say, no, what a legacy he's left. But when you say, okay, what is that legacy? You don't even know what to say, because there's nothing. We don't know what the person has left. So today we've been reminded, and I would urge everyone to not just listen to this once, because there's a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom, which has been given to us today to actually change the entire trajectory of our lives. Short as the session may have been, there's a lot that is packed in it. And you know, for me, is when God is speaking to you, or to me, this is a similar message which we had in church today. When I went to church, is the message which was in the same lines. So the Bible says, let he who has ears hear what the Spirit is saying. So I have a question in the chat.
Okay.
Just check it out.
I'm seeing a question. It says,
Okay.
how do you manage important relationships that may still be opposite of where you're going? I hope I understand the question. So I'm asking for clarity. So when I clarify, if I got it, you want to give a thumbs up. So if you're talking about managing important relationship, but it's opposite of where you're going, Now it depends on where the social sphere of this relationship. So say, for example, there is a work relationship and perhaps you have a foresight or your values do not align. Is that what you're asking? So because the answer differs depending on the kind of relationship. Because if you say, for example, there is a friendship and then you are going in different situations, you want to reassess what is that, because when you have already classified it as important, it means that the relationship matters to you. But then if you are going in different directions, is it for a time? Does that relationship matter for you for something? Are you going to, how are you able to live with that divergent progression of the relationship? Because sometimes you may have to set boundaries. Sometimes you may have to disengage. There are some friendships that are not going, you may not be able to carry along because maybe when you started the friendship, all of you were at this level of thinking, all of you had some similarities, but you're growing and those people are not growing with you. I'm not saying you should throw away all of your friends you started with, but there will come a time that some friendships will not progress with you. Because sometimes people say like you've outgrown them. Maybe that you've outgrown them sounds like you threw them aside. But if we're really being honest, you may have outgrown them, that you're not getting value for that relationship. And it's okay to first normalize in yourself that every friendship does not have to be internal if it does not keep serving you. If it's a work relationship and you need to be in the work, but then you are headed in different directions with your boss, with your colleagues, it's a matter of decision. Do you want to quit the job? Where are you going to go to? You have to discover and learn how to be in a work environment with people who do not align with your values, because what you're there to do at work, this might sound controversial, it's not really to make friends as much as you can make friends from workplace. But the purpose of you being at that work is to deliver what you were employed for and to make progression in your career, in your work with the time you spent there. So if you didn't go to work to fraternize and somebody does not believe, somebody is moving in a different direction, you're going to have to keep yourself focused on the reason why you're there. And then fraternize with the people you can fraternize with. Not everybody can like you. You know, even Jesus Christ, they didn't like, even ice cream. Everybody does not like ice cream. So if we normalize that it's okay to pay attention to the real matter why we are in every social space, then we'll learn how to live in that social space. If it's an intimate relationship, say for like a marriage, and it's important to you and you're headed in different directions, then you must come to a place of alignment. If it's beyond you, you must go look for people that have been trained in family systems engineering to help you come to an alignment, because it's going to be tough to do life with a spouse that is headed in a different direction from yours. So I've tried to use different form of relationships because I don't know which specific relationship you're talking about. So I hope that you were able to get answer to what you are looking for.
All right. Thank you so much. Itoro, I hope your question has been answered.
Yes, thank you.
All right, you're very welcome. Okay, so for me, I personally don't have a question because I am going to definitely go back to this session. There's a lot of gaps that I have seen in my own life, which I need to go back to and just really get, you know, like I just go back and listen and understand and map out, because what you've given us is a plan for how we can change our lives. And so I want to encourage all of us, for many of you that may be Christians, no, sometimes we attend conferences and we say, yeah, that was powerful, that was powerful. And then after that, it ends with that was powerful. But what I would urge all of us is to go back and really implement what she has taught us today. Because believe you me, the information that she has given us is not free. she's come here for free, I would say free in quotes, because of who she is and who she is to the House of Saviors. But on any given day, you would not have an hour with her just like that. So please take time to go back and listen and see how you can map out and change your life. So thank you so much, Coach. Thank you so much for your time. I have personally enjoyed it. Oh, I can see another question. Okay, so I'll say, yeah, I can see another question. How do you
So
narrow
should I take the
down?
question?
Yes, please.
We have to give you Toro a prize for the question answer, because you see how in life, see, I've turned to another teacher now. See how in life, the person who shows up to take care of the opportunities is the one that gets the insight that they need.
Yes.
Okay, let's go on. How do you
Let me
narrow
read.
down a place to focus on building your legacy, say between a career focus, a gifting legacy, a legacy based on passion? Itoro, I will not be able to answer that question in the way that it will give you the most impact, but I'm going to give you some tips. Because if you are already where you feel conflicted in different areas where you want to do legacy, maybe you want to talk to somebody that can help you sift through the questions. I often say to people, when you are in the box, in the bottle, it's hard for you to read the label.
Mm-hmm.
So it may be that you might need to sit with a neutral person who is not the one going through the conflicts of these different areas of legacy, and then based on their questioning and even taking you through the journeys of your life, you will get the clarity that you need. But just on the general, when you're narrowing down to many a times, even that question of legacy, that question of purpose is in itself another cause of anxiety. And psychologists call it purpose anxiety. So what am I meant for? What am I here for? And all of that. I usually say to people, you don't find your purpose. You don't find legacy. You uncover it. It's already in you. There is already something in you. And there are three distinct ways that you can really lash onto that thing. Maybe from a place of pain. What is that thing that if you had the power, you would stop that pain from happening? That gives you sleepless nights, that maybe when you hear somebody is going through it, you're like, that really gets to you. Maybe that's one pain that aligns with your place of purpose and legacy that you would want to solve if you had, or if all things being equal. Secondly, it could be from a place of pleasure. Maybe as a child, maybe even as you evolved till now, what is that thing that gives you immense pleasure? What is that? And maybe sometimes even the thing, it's not you coming to the realization yourself. It could be what people have spoken to you. Oh, people tell you that when you are this way, that's when I enjoy you the most. And you also feel that sense of pleasure, that sense of joy. That could also be giving you some insight as to that legacy, that purpose. Thirdly, it could be through what I call pro-social experiences. And what do I mean? Maybe, for example, you encounter somebody doing something and that reignites a fire for you. And you definitely know, oh, what this person is doing is like something I would do. Oh, this person has just started something that really speaks to me. You may not have made the connection, but because you saw someone doing it, you're like, that's what I would like to do. That could also be an insight. Then it could be literally, directly, a voice from the divine. It could be your connection to God and He drops something in your spirit that is away from what you even like. And you're like, me? How can this calling for me? So you have never even known, you don't have any known pleasure from that. It's not a pain that you've been associated with. You've not seen somebody doing it, but it was just ministered to you, it was just laid in your spirit. So that's why I say that these are different ways to assess what you could want to spend your time and life doing that gives you meaning. But sometimes when you are the one conflicted about the choices, you might need somebody to help you just look beyond what could be the challenges or the obstacles. And then finally, what I say to people, if you are caught up with not being sure of one thing that is my legacy, one thing that is my purpose, do everything that you enjoy doing, and the stars will align. So rather than spending years looking for purpose, invest those years doing the things that you enjoy doing, the things that your heart speaks to, the things you find your hand doing. And then you are actually living meaningfully. So everybody does not have to have that mystical experience. As I was walking down the street, then it's like the heavens opened and I heard the Holy Spirit say to me, Chidima, go left. It doesn't have to happen as much as it is authentic. So whilst you're there, I read a book one time, I can't remember the title, and it was talking about a mentee of his who was conflicted with purpose. And he said to him, in summary, whilst you're still on that quest, purpose is doing what you love and loving what you do. Because even in that things you are doing that may not look like purpose to you, by the way you live your life, you are inspiring people, you are being the God in the situation, and hearts are turned, people receive hope, lives are renewed, whether you're a sweeper, whether you're a teacher, whether you're whatever. And in doing that meaningfully, you are also living purpose. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, no, thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. I think that's all the time we had for. And House of Saviors, please let's show our appreciation, our gratitude in the chat section.